Greetings in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to End Time Preparedness. Let's begin with a few biblical-based scriptures, lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. That's found in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. That's found in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. And behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? That's found in Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 27. The purpose of these sessions is to educate, empower, uplift, and to provide end-time tools to assist in navigating our new, fast-paced, and ever-changing world. The mission is to obtain knowledge and be aware of options in preparing for disasters and emergency situations. There will be four sessions out here, one on water, food, hygiene, and energy. I may add additional sessions, but it is as the Lord leads. In this session, you will obtain information on energy, explore the variety of energy sources through lighting, heating, cooling, gas, and solar. There are several types of energy sources. However, in this session, we're going to cover thermal energy, electrical energy, light energy, and radiant energy. And you will see as we go forward in these slides that some of these items that I present utilizes more than one energy source. So I want to give a quick disclaimer that I am not a professional prepper. This information was gained through research and the revelation given to me by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I ask that you please take the information that you will obtain, pray about it, ask God how to proceed forward, and I know that He will direct your path on what is right for you and your family. Let's talk about lighting. In a grid down situation, that is one of the most common things that people look for is where's the light? I'm going to start this first slide with a lighting tip. Did you know that the solar lights that you use outside in your yard can also be used as lighting inside your home? Well, it can. Each one of these lights have something on it called a solar panel. A solar panel basically gathers energy from the sun and it creates light for a specified amount of time when it's dark. So this is something that you can utilize. Remember that some of these lights underneath that top has a little tab under it. You have to pull that tab out in order for it to begin working. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where there is no light and you do have yard lights, go out and pull one out and let it be a light for you in dark places. When you're doing your research for the type of lighting that's good for you and your family, it is good to understand what the terminology means. You will see this word lumen often. The lumen is a standardized unit of measurement of the total amount of light that is produced by a light source, such as a bulb or a tube. So you will see lumen at a lower number, and that means how dull it's going to shine. If you see lumen at a higher number, that means how bright that light will shine. So let's start out first with this first one, a battery charged flashlight. And we're going to talk about, again, being thorough and detailed. So if you're going to use a battery charged flashlight, make sure you have extra batteries. Not only that you have extra batteries, but they're in working order. And not only if they're working in order, but you know where they are stored. Okay, another type of flashlight would be your USB charged flashlight. They plug in just like you do your phone. So you can just plug it in and it will provide the light that it's supposed to. Another is the solar charged flashlight. You'll have that solar panel on where the handle is. Again, it's just like from the previous slide. Put it out in the sun and it'll gather that energy. I want to note as we're going forward, if you are using anything with solar panels take a longer amount of time to charge. So it's not something that you just simply boom and there it is. It does take hours. So it's important that when you're doing your research, you pay attention to what it's saying. If it's going to take 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, then you want to maybe consider, hey, maybe I can still use this, but have a backup as well because this is going to take a while to charge. So these are things to consider when you're looking for lighting. These are other lighting sources. You have the headlamp. The headlamp straps to your head and it has an adjustable strap, allowing you to be hands-free. They are charged by battery or by USB cable, so make sure you have extras on hand. They have different modes on how dull or how bright that light will shine, and it's great for individual lighting needs. The one next to it has a dual energy source through solar and hand cranking. It has a solar panel on top in which you would charge it up and you can use it for lighting. But let's say it's a cloudy day and you didn't get that much sun. You can also use that hand crank in the back of it. So you just wind it around. It'll give you instructions on how fast to go. You'll wind it around, which is called hand cranking, and 8 minutes of lighting you will get if you crank it for 1 minute. So if you crank it for 1 minute, you turn it around for 1 minute, you will get 8 minutes of light. So this is also a way that if you don't have anything else, and as long as you got a little strength, you can wind that around and still have lighting. Other lighting sources are listed on this page. It is all suggestive. It does not mean that you have to go and get every one of them. Just know what's out there and what's going to work for you and your family. So you have a solar rechargeable light bulb that has a solar panel, and again, remember, solar panels take a longer time to charge, but it is something that you can use. In addition to that, you have battery operated LED lights. Those are everywhere. They're all different colors. You can find them any place, even the $5 store, sometimes even at the dollar store. They are operated by batteries, so those little disc batteries, but all you have to do is open up and replace the batteries and you can use them again. You also have the USB rechargeable lanterns. They are charged again by USB, but they have some that are charged by solar. They have just a variety and a variation of lighting that's out there. You just need to take a look and do your research. They can be purchased online, sometimes in stores, just depends, but they are out there for you and your family. Let's talk about the different ways in which you can charge your devices. You have standard batteries. You have your AAA, your AA, your C, and your D. And once you've used those, you throw them away and you will have to purchase more. However, there are rechargeable batteries in which you can use over and over and over again. Next, you have the USB power banks. These power banks have different levels in which the capacity of the amount of energy that they store. So it depends on what you purchase. You have some that have the USB cords and some that are wireless. Next, you have the solar power banks, and these are charged by solar panels. These solar panels again take a while to charge, but it is something that you can utilize. Some of these devices have multi-uses. They may have a light on it. They also may have compasses. They may have SOS flash on it. It just depends on what you buy, but they are doable for charging your devices for the needs that you may have for you and your family. In this next segment, we're going to provide information on how to keep you and your family warm, and also practical tips on how you can insulate your home. Please keep in mind that this information is optional for purchase. It's just to make you aware of what's out there. So you have your warm hats, your ear warmers, your warm gloves, and sometimes those come with waterproof, or you can buy them with wool in the inside as a lining, which will help keep the cold out. You have your warm onesies with and sometimes they come with socks. You also have warming socks and thermal fit heating jackets that come with battery packs. So those battery packs are rechargeable, and that will give you that extra boost of warmth that your body will need. You also have your warm wool socks that come insulated. Keep in mind that it's important that you can always layer up. Layering up helps to keep you more insulated and helps to keep the cold from penetrating to your skin. This is a practical tip slide for warmth. Have you ever seen the movie Day After Tomorrow, where there was a homeless man walking around trying to stay warm, and he was placing newspaper inside of his jacket, all in the sleeves and wherever he could find, he was putting newspaper in there. So paper, newspaper, those are great insulators, inexpensive and very practical. Another is hot hands and toe warmers. They do sell those in bulk and they will definitely keep you warm. Another will be the hot water bottles. They also come with sweater sleeves, and you can use those to protect your skin against the hotness from the water in the hot water bottle. A tip for that is if you're cold at night, you can take hot water and place it in that bottle and then tuck yourself in really well in your bed, and then you take that hot water bottle and put it underneath your covers, and that will keep you nice and toasty. It will generate the heat and the warmth underneath your covers and keep you toasty. Another practical old school will be the shower cap. Our head is the most common place in which most of the heat comes from out of our body. So the shower cap will help keep that heat in your body and you stay warmer longer. The last warming tip will be Vaseline. Vaseline is your friend. Vaseline creates a barrier on your skin and protects you from wind and cold. I grew up wearing dresses or skirts every day. Didn't matter how cold it was, that's what I had on. So Vaseline actually helped my legs to stay warm, and I didn't have too much of a problem with just even cold. I remember people asking me, "Aren't you cold?" And I was like, "No," because Vaseline gave me that barrier that I need. So it is practical, it's inexpensive, and most of these items are items that you can begin to stock up on. On this slide, we'll talk about items that cover your whole body. So you have sleeping bags. Sleeping bags, if you do have to purchase them, or even if you have them, try to get those that can withstand the freezing temperatures. And as we discussed on the previous slide, it's the same thing, and it'll really work in a sleeping bag. With the hot water bottle, you fill it with the hot water, put the sleeve on, and zip yourself up, and put it in your sleeping bag, zip yourself up. It will generate heat to keep you nice and warm. Keep in mind that anytime you're laying down and you're cold, you never want to lay down straight on a hardwood floor or concrete. That will suck all of the warmth out of you. So you want to make sure that you put something down, a mattress, a thick blanket, even your couch pillow cushions, something, but do not lay straight on the floor because it will defeat your efforts of trying to keep you warm. In addition to that, you have your blankets, you have your electric blankets. They do have electric blankets that are of low watts. So typically the regular electric blankets will not work if you're using certain energy sources, but they do have some that are low watt that will work. And in addition to that, you have your wool blankets. So some people may say, well, wool is itchy. Well, just put a sheet as a barrier to that wool blanket and still use it because it's a great source for keeping you warm. As I began to do my research, I came across items that I didn't know were even out there. One was this 9-day candle. So I knew about candles because I like candles, but I didn't know that they had those that lit for 9 days. It wouldn't necessarily generate a lot of heat, but it will give you a little light and a little bit of heat. And the thing is it lights for 9 days. They also have tea lights. I was used to purchasing the tea lights that will last up to 2 to 4 hours, but they do have some that have up to 8 hours of burn time. So if you have a cluster of those, that would generate heat for you as well. Again, being thorough and detailed, don't forget about your lighters and don't forget about your matches. In addition to matches, they do have matches that are waterproof. And not saying that you need to go and get that, but just something just to be thinking about. This next item is something, it is a little bit more pricey, but I was quite impressed with it. It's called a UCO candle lantern. Basically, they have the candles in there and it generates a pretty good amount of heat. I believe it's like 5,000 BTUs, and we talked about that in the other slides earlier of what a BTU is. And if you can look at that yellow lantern at the very end, it has like a little silver thing on top of it, and basically you can cook on top of there. It will generate enough heat in which you can place a pot on top of it and cook something. So that's a multi-use lantern or item that you could purchase. There are so many other things out there that you can use, but I'm just going with just some of the basic things and some things to kind of give you food for thought on what you should be looking for. It's easier just to purchase something if it has more than one use, if it has multi-uses, than to purchase all these different things. So if you see things that have more than one use, purchase that if it's cost efficient for you. If it's not, just get what you can. Start simple and build from there. I want to take a quick moment and talk about when you're using flames in your home. You want to make sure, number one, that you have a carbon monoxide detector. So if you're lighting something, making sure that that detector is active and it can pick up any fumes that may be being released into the air that may be toxic for you and your family. In addition to that, fire extinguishers that work and that you know where they are and you know how to use them. We talked about that in detail in previous slides. So let's go ahead and talk about this paraffin oil. It is a lamp oil. It has clean burning and also is smokeless. So you can use that in that lamp. It will create great heat as well as light. The other one is the kerosene fuel. That fuel you'll put in the lantern and that also burns. It may release like a smell to it because it is a fuel, but it also can burn clean. So these are options that you have out there. In addition to that, being thorough and detailed, don't forget to purchase your extra wicks. You need your extra wicks for your lanterns and your extra wicks for candles and whatever else it is that you're burning. Let's talk about insulating your windows in your home. So here are two options. The first is a window installation shrink kit. So what you would do is take the plastic that's in there, tape it around your window, and then you'll get a blow dryer and you will blow dry it on the plastic. And it will iron out all of the wrinkles that's on the plastic. You should be able to see in and out, but it also will be a great barrier to block that air from coming into your home. Another practical tip is the use of bubble wrap. You will get a spray bottle, you will fill it with water, and you just spray your window with that water. Not douse it with water, just a little bit. Take your bubble wrap and place it on there, and it will dry and it will hold that, it will stay adhesive to your window, and it will help also be a barrier to the wind coming into your home. This is a Mr. Heater Portable Buddy. It heats up to 9,000 BTUs. BTUs is the British thermal unit. Simply put, it is the measure of heat. So this particular device gives you up to 9,000 BTUs, which heats up to about 250 to 450 square feet. It is fueled by propane, and this device also radiates heat. It doesn't blow it out. So if you would like for it to blow it out, there are attachments that you can buy, which is a wood stove fan, and you just clip it on the top of there. So wood stove fans are powered completely by the heat that is being generated on your device. The fan does not require any electricity to function, so you don't need to worry about any extra batteries or any type of electrical outlets in which to run it. So it's generated just simply for the heat. So as that fan heats up, as that device heats up and it generates the heat, the fan will pick it up and it'll start to spin, and therefore your air will be able to blow out and heat your room. Another type of device you may want to think about is the Vesta self-powered camping and heating stove. It is a multi-use device. It is small in size and will not take up a lot of space. It is heated by using your Schaefer fuels. Using 2 or 3 of them at a time, depending on the Schaefer fuels that you bought, the fuel canisters can last up to 6 hours. The Vesta device also allows you to cook on it as well. It also blows out heat. It has one of those stove fans built into the back of it. It will heat up a room for up to 200 square feet. I put a picture at the bottom to show you how big 200 square feet actually is. It's about the size of a one-car garage. To be thorough, so if you're considering this device, be sure to stock up on your Schaefer fuels, which can be purchased at department stores and as well as the large warehouse stores. Did you know some foods generate more body heat when digesting them than others? It's those foods that take longer to digest. Foods such as bananas, beans, oatmeal, eggs, and spinach. Foods that have complex carbohydrates, such as brown rice, also can be inclusive in that category. That's why it's good to know and it's good to store up. We talked about our heating options, and now we're going to talk about cooling options. If you have a basement is a great place to go to stay cool. In almost all of houses, the basement is around 10 degrees cooler than the first floor. This is a result of hot air rising and cold air falling. As the basement is below ground, it is best insulated floor in your house. So whether your basement is finished or unfinished, if you need to stay cool, it is a great place to go. Just as there were heating devices that were utilized to stay warm, they also have similar things for staying cool. First is the rechargeable fan. That is a fan that can hook around your neck. It can be charged by USB, and it can also provide air flow around your face and your neck area. Next, there is a USB solar fan and light. As you can see, it is a fan. You turn it on, and it also turns into a lantern. And this is a multi-use tool right here. The next one to it is a USB camping fan with light and a power bank that can also charge your phone. So the fan sits up. The bottom of it is your power bank. So you can charge your phone. You stick your USB in there, and it'll charge it. All while charging your fan so it can propel your air, and it'll also generate light. You can hang it, or it'll sit straight up on the surface. The last one is just your general power fan that is operated by battery. And if you use that, you will have to make sure that you have extra batteries on hand. As we continue to discuss cooling, did you know our feet play a vital role in regulating our body temperature? So, as a suggestion, here are cold therapy socks. They kind of like have a cold compress in the inside of them, and you put them on your feet, and it will actually help bring your temperature down, your body temperature down. Don't forget about also your instant cold packs and hot packs. Those things can be heated up or chilled to regulate your body temperature. And of course, water. Cool water will help regulate your body temperature very fast. They have cooling towels and also cooling things that you put the little cool gel packs in there, and you put it around your neck to kind of help cool down your body temperature. And again, this is all suggestive. Some of these things you may not even be aware that they have it out there, so just kind of wanted to bring it to your attention. Again, you want to still do your research, and you want to pray about it as you go forward. What would you do to keep cool and to keep particular items cool when there is no electricity? So there are mini fridges. These mini fridges are low in watt. They can hold items such as bottled water, sodas, fruit, and even possibly medicines that need to be refrigerated. Next, there are small ice machines. It generates small ice cubes to be used for cooling. Don't forget, just as we were talking about before regarding the thermal bottles and pots, it can also keep your liquid cold for 12 to 24 hours. In addition, there are camping refrigerators and freezers. Primarily, the use of these camping refrigerators and freezers, some people use it for tailgating when they're attending football games and such likes. Some items will allow you to take these devices and make it where all of it is refrigerator or both sides are freezer. So it is a multi-use tool. There is also an app that you can download to help you regulate the temperature from your phone. It has wheels and a sturdy handle for pulling. It is a great tool. So you may be asking, how do I keep these things powered? They're not battery operated. Well, we will answer this question in the upcoming slides regarding generators. So if you're interested in any of these items, be sure to purchase those with low watts to help you to conserve energy. Generators. So it is a topic or a category in which you would need to do your own research and find out what's best. They have all different kinds. They have all different ways in which they can service you and your family. You just would need to do your own research. So I'll tell you what a generator is. In general, it turns mechanical energy into electrical energy. It provides electricity to devices and appliances when you are not connected to the power grid. It's used mostly for leisure and also during disaster situations. It is a more pricier item, so if you don't have the money, maybe you can save up money, or tax time is coming around, so you can use your tax money to save to get one. It is out of convenience, but you don't absolutely have to have one. There are ways around it that you can still meet your family's needs without having one of these. So don't feel pressure that, hey, it costs this much money and I don't have the money to get it. It's all right. You can still start from being simple. The simpler ways actually sometimes work best in the more pricier ways. So just think about it, just know about it, and pray about it and see what God has for you. So when we were talking about heating and cooling, I was always mentioning watts, watts, watts. And you may say, well, what's a watt and how do you know the amount of watts that a particular device has or is using? So there is a device that's called a digital power watt reader. What you do is you just take it and plug it into your wall, and that's the back side of it. The front side of it, you would take that device and you would plug it into the front side of it. You would set it according to watts, and you would set your device according to like how you're going to use it. So whether you're going to use it on high, on low, whatever it is, you just plug it in and it will tell you how much watts is pulling. So how much electricity is using to use that device. Therefore, you will know, hey, if I have a generator that is 300 watts and I have this fan that burns 100 watts per hour, I only have uses of 3 hours for this fan before the generator has no more energy to provide me. So this watt reader is very helpful if you're going to get a generator. Before we go further, I want to remind you that you must do your own research when you're talking about generators. So first we're going to talk about gas generators. Gas generators are one of the most common devices that are used when people are not connected to the grid. Gas generators cannot be ran in your house because they release all types of toxic fumes that are harmful for your body, for you and your family. It must be ran outside. It is a loud device, so once it's running, it will sound off and let people know that you have one. In addition to that, it is somewhat heavy in weight. You want to make sure that if you decide to purchase a gas generator, that you have extra gas on hand, and we'll talk about that soon. So it is important that, again, that you do your own research. Gas generators come in different sizes where they have an output for different amounts of time. So it just depends on if you're getting the big one or the smaller one and what your family would need or require. The reason for this slide is to show you the creativity that people have. Someone has taken a gas generator, has hooked it up to additional tubing, and placed it in a secured box there for they don't have to worry about it being stolen, and it has plenty of ventilation because they have connected it. The ventilation is going to flow outside of that box. So just to let you know that there are some creative measures that you can do in order to secure your gas generator. So let's talk about gas. So before you think that you can just store gas in your garage or wherever, you want to make sure that you do not reside in an area or a state where it is against the law to store gas. Some states it is against the law. So you want to make sure that you're always within the law in doing what you need to do. If you are able to store gas, they have different types of containers that you can use. One is this metal container. It's like military grade. It has a spout on the end. It has that rubber seal on the inside to help with spillage. And they also have the plastic ones that you still want to make sure it has a spout on the end, and then also it has that rubber seal to prevent spillage. They also have something called a gas stabilizer. You will follow the instructions on what it says to the T. So it may say for this amount of gas, you would need to pour in this amount of gas stabilizer every so often. It may say every 6 months or every 3 months or however long it says. You just would need to follow that. So you can store gas. You just got to do it the proper way to make sure that you and your family are safe, and even in your neighborhood, because we see on the news sometimes houses just blow up. So you want to make sure that you're safe about doing these particular things. And if you don't want to store gas, you can always just have the containers. So in the downgrade situation, you can just go to the gas station and you'll have the proper containers in which to hold your gas. Solar generators. So what are solar generators? A solar generator works by collecting solar energy through solar panels, and it stores that energy into its built-in solar battery. It has an inverter. The inverter converts that energy into alternating currents, which is your AC power. That power is then released for you to use in your home, for your appliances, and for your electronic devices. These are examples of 3 solar generators. You want to make sure you do your research. There are many different brands out there with many different functions. So these particular 3 are the Jackery, the Blue Eddy, and the Oak solar generators. In general, they can all be powered by solar panels or by using your electric in your home. To use the solar panels, charging in direct sunlight is the best. If you're not in a grid down situation, these can also be used in your home. All you have to do is make sure it's charged, take your compatible electronic devices and plug them in, and once you begin using them, it may even lower your electric bill. These all have AC and DC plugs, USB plug-ins, as well as flashlights that you can use. They all have a LED digital display screen which can tell you the input and the output functions, and it also tells you the battery power that is remaining. This is one of the more pricier items. They can be purchased for low wattage all the way up to very high wattage, and it costs. But it is something that you can use for convenience for your household needs. Here is an example if you happen to purchase a solar generator that has a 500-watt output. As you can see at the bottom, it says a phone. If the phone is drawing out 10 watts, you can charge that phone for 41 hours. And it goes on for different type of needs that people may have for their household. Go ahead and pause this slide and look at it in detail just to familiarize yourself with what a solar generator does. In addition, so while you're doing your research, you can kind of know what it's talking about. This is also a multi-use tool. It is an NOAA weather radio, which stands for National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration Weather Radio. It has a flashlight. It also has a built-in power bank that can be used to be charged by USB or by solar. So the USB can use your home electricity, or you can just flip up that solar panel, place it in your windowsill, let it charge fully, and just leave it there until you're ready to use it. It also has the ability to charge your cell phone. It has a hand crank, and we already talked about that in the previous slide. And it also has access to FM radio for emergency notification. Therefore, you and your family will have knowledge on what's going on in your area if there is a disaster, and you'll also know about the possible emergency release that's going on. This is cost efficient. You can purchase it online and sometimes in your local stores. It can range in any type of price from $15 and up, just depending on the different functions that it has. I would highly recommend that you start here when you're looking about purchasing things for energy, because it is so cost efficient and it is a multi-use tool. At the end of each of these sessions, you will see this slide that says 3 P's: pray, prepare, and practice. Pray. Of course, you should be praying every day throughout each day. Times are moving fast, and sometimes you barely have enough time to catch up with it. So as you begin to pray, the Lord will begin to show you not only the different things that's going on in the world, but how to prepare for what is to come, spiritually and naturally. Prepare. Prepare is an action word. So take action. Do something. If you haven't started, start. Begin by just making a simple list. On that list, include what is of necessity and then what is optional. Add and take away those items as you need. Lastly, practice. Practice your preps. That's very important. In times of disaster, you will not have the time to break open the box and try to read the instructions. So practice now. Know what it does, know where you stored it, and know how to use it. Also, include your family in all of this. Your family should be included when you are praying, when you are preparing, and when you are practicing. And this includes your children. Know that a day may come where food and water may be scarce. Prepare your children so they're not caught off guard. Work together as a family. Be prepared for what is to come. Acknowledge the Lord in all your ways, and He will direct your path. Hebrews 13:6 says, so that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. I speak to you, people of God. I speak to you with a sense of urgency that it's nighttime and the day is far spent. We have little time to prepare. Don't deter and don't delay. Remember that your thoughts are spiritual. They are either of good or evil. The word of the Lord says in Philippians 4:8, finally, brethren, whatsoever things that are true, whatsoever things that are honest, whatsoever things that are just, whatsoever things that are pure, whatsoever things that are lovely, whatsoever things that are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Be encouraged, be strong. We can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. Blessings to you and your family. Take care.